So we move on to the next.
No, you cannot come.
To the next strategy, which is the concept mapping. I believe that many of you are quite familiar with concept maps. According to the modern findings of cognitive psychology, again, the things that have to do with schematization, virtual symbols, affect the formation of perceptions, and in general, the cognitive constitution of learners. Through visualization, complex concepts or phenomena can be quickly perceived, or should be much more precise, could be perceived quicker. When information is presented in visual form, the brain is better able to process this kind of information and proceed to synthesize several concepts. Either these concepts are simple or even difficult ones. It's in a typical concept map. We start from a central idea, a central concept, which at the first level, we break into more general concepts. And in a second level, these general concepts are broken further down into other sub-concepts, and we can go and go for as many levels as we want to. There are several types of concept maps. The most, maybe the most familiar to us and the most typical are the arachnoid map, just like the one you see it. Of course, it is in Greek. You cannot understand much. The central idea is placed in the center, while the individual concepts are placed circularly, facing outwards. This creates a web similar to a spider's web. That's why it is called arachnoid map from the Greek term arachne, which is the spider, with the central concept being the unifying factor of the elements of the map. A second type is the hierarchical map, which is also known to most of us. The concepts in this type are presented in a downward scale order of meaning, creating both horizontal or vertical branches. The concepts are placed in a hierarchical form with the more general appearing at the top and the individual concepts, the most specific concepts appearing at the lower levels. And maybe one more type that I'm presenting is the systemic map. It organizes information in a similar way to what we know as flow tables. Often at variants indicating flows and outflows. The central concept map is particularly useful for representing the functioning of a system and the dynamic relationships between concepts, so it enhances the development of systems thinking. Because more or less we are pretty good, we are familiar with this kind of mapping. Let's go and discuss about the next strategy and give you an example about the community mapping. What is important regarding the community mapping is the fact that around us, we see several buildings, for example, public buildings and private, modern and old, industrial facilities, schools, churches, monuments, streets, sidewalks, small and large squares, pedestrian streets, etc. But not only these, the natural and the man-built environment hosts also human activities, professions. It hosts cultural activities and habits. All these constitute the daily life of citizens and shape the culture of a certain community. Some of these interest us the most. We would probably like to highlight these things that interest us the most and share them with friends, even with unknown people who visit this certain place. And this is the community mapping. A community map expresses the elements that are of particular value to a specific community, while at the same time initiate ideas to involve community members more actively in highlighting and utilizing these elements. And here is the example regarding the community mapping. Here we have the map of Greece, and in red square, I have the island of Rhodes. This is the island of Rhodes in south east part of Greece, and this is a part of the city. Maybe some of you may have already visited the island of Rhodes, and you have a good idea of what it is about. We usually mark a certain area or even a route and give this map to the students, either independently or even better in groups. Here I have marked a certain area of the city of Rhodes, which comprises both an inner part of the city and a part of the marina, a part of the port. Depending on the student's age, and this is very important, we could use chaperones, especially for young students, for smaller grades. We could use chaperones. We cannot let them walk in the city by themselves. The students are asked to walk in this area or in this route and focus on the important, according to their kind of thought and mind, focus on the important facilities or monuments or activities that take place within this certain area and document this kind of activities, monuments, etc., either by writing notes somewhere or by taking photos or taking even taking some objects as souvenirs. Then when they get back to school, they present their findings separately.
Can
Yes,
you hear me?
yes, yes.
Sorry for the interruption. There are some people that they say that they cannot see the words. It is a little bit peculiar because I see most of the, okay, maybe I cannot see in the map all the words, but they are saying, for example, that they cannot see community mapping. I see this, but there are just a couple of people that they don't see.
I don't know, Yolanda.
What about Maria? Maria, can you see?
Yolanda, a few minutes before I couldn't see very well the letters, but I can see them now very clearly. So
Okay, okay.
I think there might be a connection problem a few minutes before. So
Okay.
that's why they couldn't see the
They
letter.
will have the chance to see the presentation by their own, so they don't have to. They don't.
Yes, yes. I think that okay, it's a couple of people on one slide. The clarity
Alright,
was not
alright.
there. It might be due
They
to the
will have
connection.
the
Okay,
chance to
okay.
see and,
Okay.
Now it's okay. Now it's okay.
That's it.
So what I was talking about is that these groups of people, these groups of students walk in this area, on this route. They take notes of what they see, of what they are impressing to them, etc. And when they get back to school, they present their findings separately, group by group, and maybe they compare their findings if they have scanned actually the same place or the same route, and combine them and maybe create a new map, a 3D map or a digital map with all the combined information. This way, the students really get to know their own places, and this is very important. The pros and cons, the advantages and disadvantages of their place. And they highlight the former ones, the advantages, and maybe they try to correct the disadvantages with the help of the city hall or whatever. We are going now to the next strategy, which is the field study or the field trip, as we know it through the books of environmental education. Sorry. A field study is not just a participation in a school trip, and this is something that differentiates the field study from another kind of excursion that the schools do. It's not just a participation in a school trip that has a recreational character. It has certain key elements that differentiate field study from other activities, such as planning, learning objectives, investigation, interaction of the learners with the study area, and generally the active participation of the trainees, of the students in our case, from the beginning. Someone wants to talk to me, but I don't want to talk to him. And generally, the active participation of the trainees from the beginning to the end of the educational process. There are three certain and specific stages in field study. The first stage is the preparation. The preparation takes place in the classroom, and it needs specific teaching hours. All activities are planned in detail during the preparation stage. Maybe if, for example, we are about to go for samplings or whatever, we will need some instruments. So the instruments and all the devices that are to be used are displayed to the students. Safety and security rules are read and discussed, and they become familiar with the relevant techniques that will be used in the field. During the second stage, which is actually the work in the field, we divide our students into groups. Each group should have a chaperone, should be accompanied by an adult, either his teacher or a parent. Students are appropriately dressed. It depends on what we have to do and what is the place that we are going to go. A pharmacy must be always available. Work should be done in groups of few students, and final inspection of the area for possible avoidance of unpleasant situations is always necessary. And of course, there is a third stage, back to school, because field work does not end or should not end in the field, but it should continue after that in the following days at school. Each group prepares a report containing their observations, data collected, the analysis of the data, and estimates on the environmental impact of the activities that were studied. This material can be part of the material that will be exhibited during maybe the presentation of the program at the end of the school year, as we talked earlier when we discussed the project method. Here is a simple example. Our environmental group is planning to explore the benefits that actually derive from a certain, sorry about that. Sorry about that. I'm going to close my phone. We are about to explore the benefits of a certain kind of environment. And this environment is an estuary. Up on your right part of the map, you see Alexandroupolis, the blue dot. Here is Alexandroupolis, the place where I live and where
Tano, can you hear us? You're frozen. Thano, we cannot hear you. If you can hear us, let me. It seems that everything is happening during this session. Did you write to him about maybe to call him?
I sent him a message in Skype, Yolanda.
Okay, okay. Thano, now we
There
can
he is.
hear you.
There he is. Yes.
We can see you. We cannot hear you. You are muted.
yes,
I was just saying that everything
it appears
happened.
that something happened. Something happened. Do you see me and do you hear
Yes.
me now?
Yes, yes,
Yes, yes, yes,
Nice.
Thanos.
What I was saying is that this is the map of Greece. The blue dot is Alexandroupolis, where I'm standing and I'm talking to you. And the picture on the right is the Delta Evros, which is actually one of the most important deltaic ecosystems in northeastern Europe, in the Mediterranean Sea. We want to explore the benefits of an estuary. An estuary is a place where fresh water and seawater mixes. Near the city of Alexandroupolis, there is the Evros Delta. We take our students and visit this place during the second stage. But here are some photographs of the whole thing. From the preparation stage. This is the preparation stage, which takes place inside schools, inside the school. It takes and it needs some teaching hours. This is where our students learn almost everything about what they are going to face when they go to the field. They learned about the topography of the area, for example. They work on interactive maps. They find relevant photos about the area. They document possible hazards. They find information about the flora and the fauna that they are about to meet and to see and to investigate when they go to the field. If some kind of sampling takes place, and maybe if some kind of recording of physical and chemical parameters such as salinity, temperature, oxygen, pH takes place, they also learn how to use certain instruments. They prepare worksheets and then they are almost ready to go to the field. And this is some photos of the same group from the field here in the Evros Delta in a specific lagoon. Since they are perfectly aware of what they are going to do there, they do it in a very serious and in a very scientific manner. But as we said before, this is not the end of the program, but they have to continue their work back to the school within the following hours, within the following days. They work on their samples, they work on their photos, they analyze the data, maybe, present their work to the community. This is from the laboratory of their school. Now, going to the future search conferencing, this is not the last one before the last strategy that we are going to discuss and somehow describe. It is also an innovative method. I don't know if you have heard that. It focuses on the organization and implementation of a meeting of a large number of citizens. But there are several versions of this kind of future search conferencing. We will use an example with a small group of people, of teachers, when talking about this kind of strategy. This number of citizens search for ideas, search for proposals, and plan its actions for the future of a community or organization. Participants, for example, share stories from the past, discuss the present, and record their expectation for their future together. The thing is that through these discussions, it's supposed that mutual collaborative learning is developed, which is actually the catalyst for a voluntary action inside their community. It functions as a temporary learning community that plans its future. And the important thing about this is that this is done without guidance from the above. I mean, from the local authorities and experts. Here is a simple example. We prepare a workshop. Our workshop has a title, Implementation of Ocean Literacy in Primary and Secondary Schools. and concerns actually the in-service teachers, the teachers that work at schools. We divide them into several groups, and we ask them to express by brainstorming or whatever other strategy their views freely, to express their views on the factors that they consider as problematic, as inhibitory factors for the successful implementation of environmental education project or ocean literacy project, and correspondingly to write down the factors, those factors that they think that are ideal, that they help them for the implementation of relevant programs. Then each group evaluates. Here I have written down several factors, both problematic and ideal, and each group evaluates these factors using a Likert scoring scale from 1 to 5, where 5 is the most important factor. Here, for example, I have put some values. Immediately afterwards, the group calculates the sum of the total score of each factor for both cases. Here is a total sum of these values. And this way, we identify the 2 or the 3 or the 4, depends on the number of factors that we have written down. The most important factors per case, those that collect the highest score. And finally, each group is asked to discuss ways to overcome both the problematic factors and ways to achieve ideal factors, and then design a group action plan. This is the whole idea of a future search conferencing, which has to do with specific targeted group. As we said, we have the teachers. And finally, we have the brainstorming. I have mentioned this strategy during other strategies. It is a, let's say, simple method to apply, but it is also open to the formulation of various variations. It is a method that it is invented to tackle or creatively solve problems. In this slide, it is a useful tool, especially within the problem-solving method, and it's and especially when we are talking about environmental issues, and of course, ocean literacy issues. Within the educational context, e.g., for example, schools and lifelong learning institutions, it is used in various ways to analyze and clarify concepts. As I told you before, it is widely used in environmental education, and it helps to clarify complex environmental and sustainability issues, as well as to search for original solutions to these issues, and therefore can and must be used in ocean literacy issues in several occasions. I'm sure that most of our participants have used this kind of strategy during their didactic hours. These are some rules that we have to keep in mind when using brainstorming. For example, the participants speak one by one. The ideas that are expressed should be brief, not long ideas. There has to be spontaneity in expressing ideas, and this is very important. The expression of original and unusual ideas is encouraged, is the best that we should have in mind. The ideas can be expressed in no particular order. It is not allowed to criticize, and this is very important. We never criticize, we never approve, we never evaluate ideas as long as they are expressed and as long as these ideas are documented somehow. All ideas expressed are acceptable during this certain stage. As many ideas as possible are desirable, and what we have to have in mind, what we should have in mind is that we are interested in the quantity and not in quality at this stage. Of course, the information and communication technologies could be used to portray the results of a brainstorming procedure. This is what we're going to do now for closing this kind of presentation. We will send you a link shortly. And what is going to happen is that you will create a word cloud depending on the words that you will pick to fill in the poll that we are going to send you. I'm not saying anything more now. I will prepare in a minute the link. The link is in Yolanda's hand, but I have to close. I will have to close the presentation. As a matter of fact, this was the presentation. I will close the presentation so that I can go to the poll platform and enable it for your needs.
Do you want me to put the link in the chat now or to wait?
I will say in just a minute.
Okay.
Just give me a minute. You have just 45 seconds to do that, dear colleagues. And I'm starting the introduction now. I think that we are ready.
I have put the link, right?
Yes. Read the link, read what is written very carefully. It's just a simple sentence. And you have 1 minute, not 45 seconds, 1 minute to write down whatever comes to your mind when thinking of a living organism regarding the ocean.
Can we do this too?
Yes.
I want to do it too.
What comes to your mind regarding any living organism which has to do with the ocean, the sea, the lakes, or whatever? I'm counting. 50 seconds. I see the results already. You can write more than one. You should write more than one words. "20 seconds. I see very different answers, and this is interesting. In 5 seconds, I stop it.
Thanos, will
Just
you show us the results of this?
not now, because I can't do that now. I will
Okay.
give you 10 seconds more.
Okay, okay.
I stop it. Sorry, guys. To be honest, I cannot see the results right now and analyze them. But before leaving you, I would like to say what you have just done. What we have just done actually concerns something that is at the core of the discussion lately. What is that? These discussions have to do with the so-called plant blindness, meaning that we are more familiar with animals, for obvious reasons, of course, than plants. You already know what you have written down, so you can understand if what we are saying has to do with us too. Do we have plant blindness? Are the words that we have written down are correlated, are connected to the plant life or just the animals? And this is very important. This is something that I used to do with my students here at the university by giving them small post-its. How do you call it? Those small colorful.
Post-its?
Yes. And they belong, all my students, all the years belong in the 99% of all the people from age 5 to age 105, because only 1 in 10 words have to do with plants. And this is bad because we miss the reason of life. And the reason of life is nothing else but plants themselves. In conclusion, I would like to say, dear colleagues, that each of the above participatory methods, for each of the above, you will be provided with rich material consisting of papers, books, videos, etc. And I would like to believe that I didn't tire you too much. And once again, thank you for participating in this online session. Yolanda, the floor is yours.
Thank you, but thank you very much, Thanos. It was very interesting, all that you said. You opened my mind again. I didn't have the chance to watch you before in a lecture like this. Thank you very much. Would you like me to remind you that there is another link that you would like to give to our participants, or later about the teaching strategies? Is it something that you want to do it now or
Are you
later?
talking to me? What does the schedule say?
We can, okay, would you like to give them the
Yes,
link
yes,
for the
it should
teaching
be given now.
strategies? And then
Yes,
I
it
would
should be
like
given now.
also to make, okay, I'm giving this now.
Yes.
It has to do that you have to answer, to give us what teaching or learning strategies would you implement in an ocean literacy blue project? If you want me to repeat, what teaching or learning strategies would you implement in an ocean literacy or blue project? The link, I'm going to put it again in the chat just in case you missed it. Okay. And there is one question in the chat that I tend to ask you, Thanos, and it has a relation with this. But let's wait a little bit.
Just say that let's give our participants a couple of minutes to answer this form. This is actually why we asked our participants to keep a note at least from the titles of these strategies so that they could use them in this form. I would recommend the participants that would like to participate in this questioning, this discussion, to switch on the camera and ask by themselves.
Thano, there is a question written before. I don't know if the participant would like to ask the question himself. But what is written is which one of the shown pedagogical strategies do you suggest is the best for the first grade, 6, 7 years old pupils? What do you think about this?
Well, I don't believe that there are good and bad for any grade. I can have first grade students that have totally different profile from your students, for example. We shouldn't and we couldn't use the same strategies, or we couldn't use them in the same way. So I believe that almost all strategies could be applied to almost all grades. It depends on the cognitive level of our students. It depends on how much we are aware of these methods in deep, so that we could use everything and each thing that has to do with this certain strategy. But I'm sure, and I know that I'm discussing this thing with many primary and secondary education teachers, that almost all strategies could be used in all grades.
Okay, there is another comment saying it depends, and in the area they live, it is different for kids.
Of course, of course.
Live near the sea, and okay, yes.
If you remember, dear Eva, if you remember, among the 4 factors, one factor had to do with the environment of the student and, of course, the teacher. If I am in the center of a huge city, different things can be made by me. But if I am somewhere in a village up in the mountains, I could use totally different methods.
Okay,
Yes.
there are also, okay, it was Martina before that said had a comment saying that the main issues come from old-fashioned teachers. I would say to foresee an education also for them, but I don't know if it is off topic somehow. Yes, maybe old-fashioned teachers cannot follow an online course, but you never know.
But this is not the rule. This is not the
Yes.
rule. I have seen teachers of some age that they are much more useful to their students than younger teachers who have just finished their training, their basic training at the universities. And it's not that they don't know anything, but they don't want to apply anything. On the contrary, older teachers have many things to provide, more things to provide. I have seen that.
Okay, one more comment. There are also plenty of experts who would be happy to join classes virtually to discuss their work and experience in support of teachers. EV Nautilus is a perfect example, offering ship to shore presentations on their ongoing research work. Yes, there are a lot of people that, yes, they support teachers, and we are among them. Also,
And what we have, sorry, Yolanda, what we
Yes,
have to have in our mind as teachers of a class is this. We start our investigation, our inquiry from our students' parents. When we have 15 or 20 or 25 students in our classroom, we have potentially 30 or 40 different specialities that we could use during our environmental education projects. We should start from those parents of our students, and then go and search for other experts. This way, we can persuade the parents of our students that we are doing a very serious work with them.